Ever tasted survival? Not just food for the belly, but recipes cooked out of nothing, flavored with resilience, and served with soul. Welcome to The Lost Taste. Today we're digging into 15 forgotten African-American recipes born from hard times, meals made from scraps, wild plants, and pure creativity. These dishes aren't just meals, they're history on a plate. Before we go on, pause for a second. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment below telling us which of these recipes you've heard of or want to try. This video is for you, the curious, the cooks, the storytellers. Across the South, through slavery, the Depression, and segregation, black families turned the unwanted, the wild, and the stale into something nourishing and unforgettable. From poke salad, a foraged leaf that could poison you if not boiled right, to hot water cornbread, made in minutes from pantry scraps, these recipes kept communities alive. Some were meals for kids when cupboards were bare, like ketchup sandwiches or molasses bread. Others, like hogshead cheese or fried chicken livers, honored the old Southern saying, "Waste not, want not." This isn't just about food. It's about the spirit of survival, of turning struggle into strength. It's about preserving the legacy of ancestors who cooked with heart, even when they had nothing. So get ready. We're about to taste the past. Poke salad. Polk salad. This wild green wasn't just food. It was risk and reward. Pokeweed is poisonous unless prepared exactly right. Elders knew to boil the leaves 3 times, throwing away the water each time, before frying them in bacon grease with onions. The bitter leaves transformed into a savory, smoky dish. It was a lesson in respect, for nature and for knowledge passed down. In communities where grocery stores were distant or unaffordable, foraging became a vital survival skill. Families taught each other what could be eaten and how. Poke salad became a rite of passage for many young foragers, a meal tied to memories of caution and care. Hogshead cheese. Nothing wasted. The whole head of the pig, jowls, tongue, snout, was boiled until tender. The meat was chopped, seasoned, and packed in gelatin-rich broth. Once it cooled, it became sliceable like a meat jelly. Served cold with crackers, it fed entire families. A true resourceful dish from nose to tail. This dish exemplified the whole animal philosophy that was not only cultural but necessary. During hog killings, neighbors gathered, and every part of the animal was used. Hogshead cheese wasn't just food. It was a symbol of community effort and shared bounty. Kush, or kush. When cornbread went stale, you didn't toss it. You crumbled it into a skillet with bacon fat, fried it crispy, then added water or broth to make a mush. Sometimes milk turned it creamy. Kush was hearty, warm, and filling, comfort food born from leftovers. In many households, this dish was often the first thing taught to children learning to cook. It taught thrift, creativity, and the ability to stretch a small amount into something satisfying. Molasses or sorghum sandwich. A sweet treat during lean times. 2 slices of bread or a biscuit with a thick layer of molasses or sorghum syrup. Sticky, strong, and full of energy. This simple sandwich gave kids a boost before school or work. Molasses, rich in iron and calories, was one of the few sweeteners available in poor households. It was not just dessert, it was fuel. And in times of hunger, even a little sweetness could lift spirits. Fried chicken gizzards and livers. The prized parts of the chicken went to guests or Sundays. The gizzards, livers, and hearts were left for the cook. Dredged in seasoned flour and deep fried, they turned into crispy, savory bites. A cook's reward, or a humble meal with flavor that punched above its weight. These organ meats are nutrient-dense, and though they were overlooked by others, black cooks elevated them into delicacies through seasoning and skill. Served with hot sauce, they became a soulful snack or dinner on their own. Stewed hog maws. Pig stomachs weren't glamorous, but they were cheap and filling. Cleaned carefully and stewed slowly with onions and peppers, hog maws became tender and flavorful. A cousin to chitlins, this dish was rich in tradition and taste. The preparation was intensive, requiring patience and care. But the result was a satisfying dish that honored ancestral cooking methods and showcased the ability to turn even the most difficult cuts into something delicious. Water dumplings, in broth. When meat was scarce, flour stepped in. These dumplings, just flour, water, and salt, were dropped into a hot, seasoned broth made from greens or leftover meat drippings. Soft, chewy, and satisfying, it was a belly-warming bowl with almost nothing in it. This was a staple during the Depression, when adding volume to a meal was more important than meat. Mothers often flavored the broth with garlic, onion, or greens, transforming flour and water into nourishment. Soapy, gravy bread. Flavor over everything. Sop was made by using stale bread to soak up pan drippings. bacon grease, red-eye gravy, or browned flour gravy. No meat, just essence. It taught that nothing, not even a drop of flavor, should go to waste. This dish was often eaten right out of the pan. It reminded everyone that food was not just physical, it was emotional, and the taste of sop often brought a sense of comfort and gratitude. Boiled peanuts. In the coastal South, green peanuts were boiled for hours in salty water until soft. Nutty, briny, and addicting, they were a protein-rich snack that lasted days. Cheap, tasty, and deeply Southern. Particularly popular in Gullah Geechee communities, boiled peanuts were sold in bags along the road, a snack for field laborers and children alike. They represent a unique cultural fingerprint and are still beloved today. Fried green tomatoes. Before they ripened, tomatoes were sliced, dipped in cornmeal, and pan-fried. The tartness became crisp perfection, a way to use what wasn't yet ready, and still make it delicious. This dish was especially useful at the end of the growing season, when frost threatened to ruin unripe crops. Fried green tomatoes reflect a waste-nothing attitude that turned necessity into tradition. Onion and drippings gravy. No meat? No problem. Saved bacon fat cooked with onions made a rich base. Add flour and water and you had gravy. Poured over bread or biscuits, it turned scraps into a real meal. This meal was a daily reality for many sharecropping families. The flavors carried stories of the South, and even today, this gravy lives on in modern kitchens as a reminder of how good simplicity can be. Ketchup or sugar sandwich. The last resort. When cupboards were nearly empty, kids ate sandwiches made with ketchup or with butter and sugar. Sweet or tangy, it was pure desperation, but still filled a belly. These were not meals of pride, but they were meals of love. Parents trying to give their children something, anything. The taste of ketchup on white bread may not sound like much, but to a hungry child, it was everything. Stewed tripe, beef. The stomach lining of a cow, slow cooked for hours in broth with onions and spices. Soft, chewy, and full of flavor. Tripe was cheap, nutritious, and another way to stretch $1. Tripe often required long preparation, including soaking and cleaning. But for those who took the time, it became a rich stew that could feed a crowd, often paired with rice or cornbread. Sassafras tea. Dug from the roots of the sassafras tree, this tea had a deep reddish color and a flavor like root beer. Often used as a medicinal tonic, it made plain water taste magical and gave a moment of peace. Sassafras was considered a healing herb, used to treat colds and fevers. Making tea from it was a sacred ritual in some families, handed down through generations. Hot water cornbread. No oven needed, just cornmeal, salt, sugar, and boiling water. Formed into patties and fried in grease, it was crunchy on the outside, soft inside. Fast, cheap, and perfect with any meal. Hot water cornbread was a constant. It showed up on plates next to greens, beans, or meat. It was comfort and familiarity, with a taste as warm as its name. These 15 dishes tell stories of struggle, survival, and the unmatched creativity of black cooks who made something from nothing. These weren't just recipes. They were acts of resistance, nourishment, and love. If you felt the soul in these dishes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to The Lost Taste. Share which one you'd try, or what your grandma used to make. And remember, this video is educational. It doesn't replace medical advice or dietary consultation. Hungry for more? Check out our next video to keep tasting the past.